Well, look where we are, dude. Episode 25. How's it feel?
I feel very accomplished. We're basically halfway through everything. A full year of episodes. It's been our biggest challenge, getting the people that know us, and the audience, to submit audio questions. I feel like getting a question via text, I can do that. I can badger someone. But this round was really, really difficult.
Yeah, definitely the toughest. This is Q&A number 5. We like to do them every 5. I think it's a couple of things. And hear me out. I think part of it is people don't like to hear their own voice. A lot of people tell me that.
All right, that's a good point. I
love to hear my voice, right? I love to critique it and pick it apart and, this, and how can I fix that? And I went down here. I should have went it's a whole different obsession. And the other part is, well, I have to ask them something good. Mm-hmm. So I think people just sometimes put this pressure on themselves when they're probably in their apartment just doing laundry, and it's in between loads, drop us a 10-second kind of thing.
Just say anything. But yeah, just I don't know. Even if it's not great, we're gonna give you a good answer.
Yeah. It's just, it's the way it goes, They're not all going to be home runs, as I was told early in my broadcasting career. And, but you know what? It's about making the most out of it. It's about making chicken salad out of chicken.
True. I was going to say
so
chicken soup, but yeah, that's a little more out of an analogy. So, speaking of that, how did your gig go? I know you were looking forward to DJing at Out the Box.
Yeah, dude, it was dope. We set it up so I could DJ at their Pop Swap, which is a swap meet we've talked about on the program before. And there was another DJ outside. I was set up inside,
Rival
thankfully.
DJs?
Because it was 80 degrees all day. So I was like, yeah, sucker. No, I'm kidding. I didn't even meet him or anything. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to be set up inside. And dude, it was a busy, busy day. And they were real impressed with my setup, especially with the speakers, the Evolve 50s. They're like, dude, what are these? These sound incredible. And even patrons that were at the store were coming over. They're like, oh, what make and model is this? These things are
Everybody
incredible.
Nerds out on gear. Is that that's just universal truth?
Yeah, isn't it so weird? He's like, so you got these two. What about the mic? What do you think you're all in on with this stuff? What do you think?
So that's always the question. How much money did you spend without having to ask it like that?
Right, too much, of course. But when you start as a DJ, you start with the low tier gear. You start with the basic, speakers.
You start with the Hercules DJ controller.
Yes, and Mackie Thump speakers. And if you don't have those, just pull the KRK monitors out of your actual studio and use those for... Yeah, come on, man.
We did it, and we rocked the party, but those speakers took a beating.
Oh, yeah, they did. But yeah, it was a cool gig, man. It was one of those things where I kind of just got to be open format, and I kind of got to play whatever it is that I thought would kind of match the theme of the day. And it's okay, it's they position it as the ultimate 90s toy store. So I'm like, okay, I'll play a bunch of cool 90s hip hop right up my alley, 2K's hip hop right in the wheelhouse. Perfect. And then I'll mix in some house mixes of those because I want to keep it upbeat a little bit too. And I was just all over the place, dude. I played everything from the Electric Slide to Hypnotized by Notorious B.I.G. I was all over the map. It was pretty cool.
Did you knock any toys off the shelf with the bass?
No, dude, each of those speakers are 1,000 watts a piece. I probably should have just brought one, right? And I kept it dialed way down because I was like, you guys realize if I push these, I'm breaking all the glass in the store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Imagine if that happened, just one big doom.
Now remind me of this. You used to, back in the day when JR lived with me in California, he worked at Guess, But
yeah, I did.
Did you ever DJ at Guess?
No, they never let me, dude.
Because
I was
they had a DJ, and I thought
I know.
I for some reason thought maybe you had actually accomplished that.
No, and I guarantee you, he was making better money than I was, without a doubt, dude.
He probably just popped up. It's like you did today. If that was a paying gig, I know you did that one because you're tight with management,
right?
But you probably would have said, "Yeah, $2 for an hour. I'm out of here."
Yeah, it was like I had this whole like brunch tour set up through work, and that fell through the cracks. So I'm like, well, I guess some dates open this summer, and I want to get out and play. I was kind of itching to play, so I just hit them up. I'm like, hey, can I come through with my gear and play? They're like, yeah. I was like, I'm not asking for any loot or anything. Yeah. So
we already said yes.
Yeah, and it was super cool, man. I had a good time, and even picked up a fig today on the way out because I couldn't resist.
Right? What'd you get?
Well, I had gone back into the WWE Network on Peacock, right? And I started rewatching their Ruthless Aggression docuseries. It's like a 2-season, 6-7 episodes apiece, and one of the episodes is on John Cena, and when he first debuts on the main roster against Kurt Angle, and Kurt says, "What do you think it is that's going to bring you out here and think you're going to defeat me, an Olympic gold medalist?" And he says, "Ruthless aggression," smack, right across the face. So I picked up a WWE Elite Legend series of John Cena, and he's wearing that exact gear from when he made his debut. So it was kind of cool.
Okay. All right. Always pulling a fig. I was up in Acadia, up in Bar Harbor for a few days with the fam. Just honestly, we did a fire every night, grilled out, did s'mores, repeat times like 3.
Dude.
It was great.
Love that.
Lobster rolls, you know the deal.
It's so funny. I was just talking to them at Out the Box today. They're like, hey, you got a trip to Maine coming up. I don't know how they really know about this.
Maybe following you on the social medias there, guy.
Could be. Or no, from the show even probably.
See?
Now that I think about it. Yeah. What? Let's go. And they're like, oh man, you got the best seafood up there. Like that's what it's known for. I go, yeah. And and I always tell this like story now since I experienced it with you. I go, you want to know how fresh it is? You want to know? Come here, I'll tell you. Come here. I'll go, I was up there by the harbor with my buddy Dave. We walked out to the lobster trap, plucked him out, dropped the 10 in the guy's mailbox, and brought him in the kitchen.
That's exactly what happened.
Nobody can believe it. They're like, what? Like that? Like right from the... I'm like, yeah, that's how we do it.
Table, bub.
Yeah, and I've only ever eaten lobster once.
You got the best experience. Just don't even try it again.
Yeah, I'm like, it's all downhill from here. What are we doing, right?
It's just going to get worse. It was so foggy today, though. There was a lot of deer on the road. So you had to be really careful. I mean, the visibility was like 20, 30 feet.
Man.
So I came back at like 5 in the morning. I wanted to get back early, went to the gym, and then kind of just been trying to recover because it's like a 3-hour drive. So
that's a haul.
Yeah, but I still couldn't get any questions. I asked my friends, I asked my family, I asked the general public. I'm on Threads now. I asked Threads, and I got no threads.
Not a single thread to be found. Dude, I reached out on my Instagram story for some questions, and it was like, do you have any Taylor Swift tickets for the show next weekend? And I even did a story while I was out DJing before I began. It's like, hey, come out and say hi. It's like, are you going to have Taylor Swift tickets? It's like, God, man, come on.
You know what? Technically, those are both questions.
Damn, you're right. But they were in text.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we need the voice. I guess, some people don't like their voice being heard. I don't know.
Yeah. You know who's been a tough one to track down, and that's going to lead us to our first question here.
I think I know who's been a tough one. Did you finally break through?
I did. When you're looking for a question for your podcast, and you want to chase somebody around for 25 weeks to get it, you look to your blood. You look to your kin.
Your kin.
You beat me to it. You look to your sister. This first question comes from my sister, Alicia. Buckle up, Dave. Here we go.
Here's the question for you. When are you going to move back home already to the way life should be?
Oh, dude, she got
right
you,
off
bro.
the rip, dude.
She got you, bro.
Man.
So, when? People are asking.
They're asking. The streets are asking, man. And, perfect world. I could pack up, come back to Maine, and still keep my current job. I would leave tomorrow, right?
Well,
but there's some difficulties to it, candidly speaking. Maine's a very small market as far as broadcasting goes, especially Southern Maine, Portland. So there really isn't any money to be made doing radio in Portland, but that's not to say that you can't make money doing it and doing extra things and weddings and, side stuff. And we have this podcast, which, we're very, very passionate about. I don't see it in my near future right now, but that's ultimately the end game. You and I have talked about it before. It's ultimately the end game to say, I went off, did radio in a couple other huge cities, Nashville, Denver, hell, maybe even LA or Dallas, who knows what's in my near future. And then I came home 10 years after where it all began. And I just think that would be kind of cool, like full circle. So it's a pipe dream a little bit, but that's what I want to do.
Well, I think it's going to happen. I mean, I can see the vision playing out. And the cool thing about you is when you start something like a contract or a new city, you see it through, you finish it out. You don't just stop in the middle. You're like, hey, I said I was going to do this. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to finish. Even if that means there's still yet another city or two between you and coming back home. But at least we get you back for a few days.
Yes.
In I don't know, like a week.
A week, man. By the time this goes up, which will be on a Thursday, I'll be flying out late that Sunday night.
Guy, let's go.
I'm really looking forward to getting back up there, especially in the summertime. And I'm going to try to sell the lady on the real Maine living. And this is what it could be like. Just think about it, just bye LA. We're going to Portland. It's a tough
coast
ask,
to coast.
But I'm gonna do my absolute best, man. I really am, and I'm looking forward to unplugging from work too. Because it's a wild industry, it's a wild world. There's a lot of spinning plates, and I'm ready to turn off the phone and just escape for a little while. So,
speaking of unplugging, so being up in Acadia. Or you remember, there's zero reception. Forget Wi-Fi. There's almost no cell reception.
There's
no
not even
Wi-Fi.
a single bar up there, bub.
So you got to sit in the corner of the porch or actually by the fire to get any reception at all.
Yeah.
And recently, I was hung up on this girl wanted to hey, are we gonna hang out again? And I'm like, man, been on a few dates. It went good. It's tough. It's it went well. I enjoy your company truly. But it just wasn't the right fit, and I just was trying to figure out how to say that. So
just
naturally, I asked ChatGPT. I'm like, ChatGPT,
get out of here, Dave! Come on, man.
But that's basically ChatGPT said the same thing that I said. I was like, oh well, I was gonna say that anyway, so I don't feel so bad now.
Okay.
And I said it over text, and I was like, hey, I've been away, haven't had reception, which was actually true. I could have driven into town to do this, but that seemed a little excessive. And we had a mature conversation. She didn't flip out or gaslight, and I was like, "Oh, look at us being mature! Wow, this has never happened to me." It was great. It was actually good to get to know you, and best of luck. It was like a virtual handshake of sorts.
Yeah, and don't you feel like the weight is off your shoulders
You're just
now?
I did the right thing. I didn't ghost, okay? All the ladies out there, I don't ghost people. I had to say it the right way.
Yeah. Dude, look at you.
There's hope, okay? You don't have to treat people like trash. You can still be respectful and get what you want and set your boundary. I just said, look, it's just not a good fit for me.
Yeah.
Gotta look out for number one, baby.
Sometimes that's just the end of it, I kind of wish you didn't use Chat GPT. Kind of wish you would just went with your gut there, but you know,
it was bad. I was like, am I right? Okay, I'm right.
Yeah. Okay. This, augmented reality tells me I'm on track. I'm going to roll with it. So let's roll on to, and I hope I have these not episodes. Geez, long day here, guys, but we're here for you. I hope I have these edited together correctly. This next one comes from Chris, listener since day one.
I don't actually have a question this time around. I just want to say thank you for doing this podcast, as it's given me something to look forward to every week. And I've learned a lot of stuff about myself, because you guys have some really good pointers. And I just want to say thank you guys, Rocket, and here's to the next 25.
Let's go, dude.
Chris.
Cheers to another 25, bro.
Oh,
Cheers
man.
right now.
Cheers.
I love it.
Yes. I love hearing that too, because like Chris truly has been engaged to the point that he was like, yo, where's the podcast at? And then it was like,
where's the ep, bro?
After him, Wade, where's it at?
Yeah.
I mean, he sent you wrestling mags. We just this is why we do the show. Because if just Chris was listening, we'd keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a damn fly in my apartment that's terrorizing this broadcast.
Trying to be on the show. Yo, this is not a guest cameo spot.
No,
all right?
bro.
We're doing the Q&A.
This isn't a bit either. Get out of here.
You guys are getting this bringing the raw bone, as Gumbel
Real and
would
raw.
say.
And dude, and speaking of raw, I'm not even wearing my Invisalign right now.
Dude,
because
Jeez.
I'm raw dogging it right here. Episode 25.
Can you say that on the show?
I just did.
Oh, man.
That's because I can't drink these monsters when I have those in. I'm like, I need to wake up. I got to talk to my buddy.
Man, life is hard. Decisions. Do I drink a monster and wake up, or do I Invisalign my teeth?
Yeah, it's like, do I, sound clear and concise and energetic in my speech, or do I sound like I'm falling asleep with a lisp? We'll let the listeners decide, But yeah, thanks, Chris, a ton for that, dude, because, coming into this episode, like we touched about at the beginning of the program, which I'm going to try to sneak that word in as much as I can. It's one of my favorite words.
Ding.
Program counter. It can be a little discouraging sometimes, because, just taking it from like a radio broadcaster perspective, you're in that room by yourself with a microphone, and you're not actually aware of how many people are listening at any time, And when we blast out these episodes, we can see the analytics and the watch time and the, subscriber count is jumping like crazy, which feels
so
really,
cool.
really good. Yeah, it's like that part feels probably the best, but sometimes you can get a little bit discouraged. You're like, is anybody actually listening? Does anybody actually care? But then you quickly remember, well, why am I doing this in the first place? Sure, monetary value, is definitely up there, but I think the most important part is I get to catch up with my pal each week, and we get to put it on wax. And just think, before we rolled and started recording, we were talking about how we've been documenting our lives for the better part of 10, 15 years. Easy. Like it's all lives online. And I kind of just look at this podcast as a continuation of that, because long after we're gone, all right, Harley, relax out there. Long after we're gone, we're going to have all of these shows that are still living out in the universe. And that's like really cool to me, dude. Like,
it's heavy, Doc.
Yeah.
The internet is forever.
Damn, where is that kid? It is forever. So long after we're gone, your kids, my kids, and they're going to be best friends just like us. And they're going to be like, damn, our dads were really fucking cool. Like, look at this. Look what they were doing, I don't know. It's very encouraging when you get stuff like that from Chris.
It's because it's legacy. There's generations past that don't have recordings of themselves, or all they have is pictures.
Yeah.
And it's up to the next generation to correctly embody that legacy. And if they don't do a good job, or maybe they just keep embellishing and the tail gets taller and taller and taller, and they walked 5 miles to school, 7, it keeps going on and on.
Yeah.
With video, with technology where it's at, you can get an accurate look at what was JR and Dave doing on July 9th on Sunday night. What were they doing? This is what they were talking about. They touched on a question from Chris. They, mentioned some other things about Maine. Like, what it does is it would jog, at least when we get old, our memories start to go, jog our memories on, oh yeah, and then you remember something random that we didn't bring up. And I was all tired from my gig, and I just came back from Acadia, and I just think we've just been documenting it before we even realized we were doing it. Now we're kind of doing it on purpose.
Yeah. It makes me think of this conversation I recently had with somebody at work. And so basically the gist of the conversation was this. Think about Ryan's kids, especially his youngest. Think about Alicia's kid, Ezra, right? Their lives from the moment they've been born has been documented in 4K.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like ours, like we have old family pictures and stuff that we can look at and use and pull for perspective. And, it wasn't until all this technology really became readily available in your bedrooms to be able to create and do all this stuff. Like from time to time, I'll still go back and look at my old vlogs and gig logs and where was I? And sometimes I'll bust out the old hard drives and look at the stuff that I never posted. And it's kind of just sitting there. And it's like, it's kind of exciting because it makes you wonder what could that be used for down the road in the future. I don't know. It's endless opportunity and it feels pretty cool.
Yeah, I would encourage more people to. I got to see my mom and my stepdad. I hadn't seen them in like a year.
Were those the hippies you said you were hanging out with?
Yeah, people who know me, like most people have no idea who that is. That's why I said
I had a feeling, yeah.
Yeah, because we're doing some activities that hippies partake in, and
yeah, right.
So
right.
hippies, this is just a way of life. But I said, I was like, hey, can we get a picture? I was like, because I really just like to document and get a picture with when I see people as often as possible. Even, like there's always the joke, best friends barely have photos together, which is kind of true. Like you and me don't have that many together, but we're always talking to each other.
Dude, the one that always comes to mind is the one from your like 6th, 7th grade birthday party where we're eating pizza and we get our pant legs rolled up like LL Cool J.
Dude, we're just clowning.
That's infamous. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just said, I want to take a photo because I don't know when I'm going to see you again. And I want to make sure we get a picture. And so as the cameraman, like I need to document. So if you see somebody and it's just for a moment, get a photo. I encourage it. Get a video, whatever.
Absolutely, man. Let's jump over to question number 3. And this comes from my beautiful, talented girlfriend. Here we go.
Hey, babe, here's my question for you. When are you proposing? It's been 4 years, and I can't wait much longer. My clock is ticking, and yeah, I'm ready for a ring. Hello.
What? I'm sorry, what? Next question. Bro.
You know what? B, I'll tell you what. How about we live in the same damn state first? How about that?
Tell him, preach, brother.
Right? How about in the same state? Better yet. How about in the same city? Better yet. How about in the same damn house?
Wow.
Right? It's like I got a long distance girlfriend for nearly 2 years. I think a long distance fiance is where I kind of draw the line. Well, that doesn't make any damn sense at all, right?
That sounds like a bad internet site. Longdistancefiance.com.
Tonight on TLC, Long Distance Fiance.
Dude, that's...
But of course she'd put me on blast
hilarious,
like that.
bro.
Yeah, I'm
How
crying
you gonna approach this? I was like, all right, he's gonna go a little comedy. I don't think he's gonna give us the full answer, but he's gonna hide a truth nugget in there somewhere. We're gonna have to find it.
Well, before meeting her, like those kind of things were never even on my mind. Honestly,
really.
Yeah. And that's something that she's so passionate about and kind of wore me down. Like, if you remember Family Matters, Urkel was always after Laura. I'd be like, baby, I'm wearing you down. I'm wearing you down.
Like,
yeah, you know?
Yep.
And it just, after a while, it kind of opened my mind. And I was like, yeah, I would love to do those things too. But let's start by living in the same place first, you know? Long Distance Fiance, like we said, sounds like a terrible TLC show. Tonight, after 90 Day Fiance.
Hey, we said it on this show first, okay? So nobody else can take it. It's ours.
Don't steal that idea. But yeah, it just goes back to Alicia's question in the beginning. When are you coming back to Maine? And it's like, when I can convince the girl to and get a house. And
sounds like
hopefully
these things are tied together.
No, they are. When you meet somebody that important to you, it's kind of, you can't just, all right, I'm just going to go and we'll be on a 3-hour time difference now. And it's, like imagine if I had taken the gig in Philly.
Man.
Would have been, this would have been way tougher. And it's already like, sometimes I get at my like wit's end with all of it. Like even last night, dude, I'm just like, we're like approaching almost 2 years now. It's been 1 year and 8 months. And like, there's no end game in sight and I don't know what I'm doing. And I think as men, we try to just bury it and not think about it. And that's okay for the time being. Until then, it all boils over at once because eventually you can't push it down anymore. And I lose my mind.
No, it's true. I had a long distance relationship, my last long relationship from like the jump. And I would fly like every month, go to California just to spend time with her. And then like I think once or twice she would come spend time with me when I was living in North Carolina. And then finally, I think it was during COVID, it kind of came to a head, and I just put it bluntly. I said, look, if this isn't working, if this isn't enough, like I know for me, I just need more focused like attention. That's just how I was communicate best. Like you don't feel obligated to call me if you're busy,
right?
Because that's fine. But if you could give me 5 minutes of undivided attention, that's all I need. So our issue was just we couldn't get on the same page and see each other enough. And ultimately, I just said, look, this is not going to work. But it was only maybe like a year and a half. So since you guys have already got over so many obstacles, and I think you both know, all right, we know where this is going. Now let's just try to figure out the timeline of when, and let's agree on that.
Yeah. And that's the most difficult part about it all, dude. It's like you finally find who you think is the one, and then because you're both so driven in your careers that it takes you to different places. And I've been in a relationship in the past where it was, you got to stop all this music stuff and this like DJing stuff and get a real job, Man. And I don't think it was coming from a malicious place. I think it was coming from like hey, I'm ready to settle down, like get a real job, a real career, let's have a kid. And I just wasn't ready for that stuff at the time. I was like, just give me a little more time. I'm so close.
And look at you now.
Yeah,
Stability.
Just a few years, yeah.
I think most of the time when women get there, me and my smart man brain not really understanding that most of the time they want to see the stability, whatever that is to them. It's different for everybody, right? And I think you and me have to do such a good job marketing ourselves as like, I like when we were both freelancing. Okay, so I don't have a steady check, but I know I'm going to make all this money here and there and there. And it's like you really got to finesse what you have going on. It's easier for you now because you're like, I got a steady gig. I know exactly when I'm going to be there. I know how much I make. I know how much I'm going to get for a bonus. So now you get the stability, but you got to get in the same place.
Yeah, and it's trying to balance those two scales, and it's like, one's here and then one's over on this side, and it's just, when I got out of my last relationship before this current one, it was I got to find somebody that's in like the entertainment industry that gets it, that
Right.
understands like what I'm after. But be careful what the fuck you ask for, because I did. And that has challenges too, a lot of them. Sometimes I lose my cool. Sometimes I'm grumpy. Sometimes I'm self-destructive over it, because I really look forward to these chats every week because I'm out here alone. I'm by myself, and it's real easy to get tricked up into your mind. So it's like, I got my best friend Dave that I can talk to each week. Sometimes I can't talk to her because she's at an event for work, or she was recently at VidCon for the weekend, or she's out doing recently spent the night in the Barbie Malibu Dream House mansion.
Get the out of here.
Yeah. And I'm sleeping on the couch in Aurora, Colorado. Golly. So, I mean, one of the driving factors to get out to LA is definitely her first, so I can put us together, right?
Yeah.
In the same city. And the other driving factor for that is to be able to say, not even for me to be able to say it, but for generations of my family after, hey, Uncle Jeff did this, this, and this. And he didn't go to school for it. He just worked his fucking butt off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if he can do that with less resources than we have now, then I have no excuse at all. And I think that's what I want to try to do. I feel like I've already broken the family curse, so to speak. And I want someone after me to take it even further.
I like that. Yeah, you gotta light the torch, keep it lit, pass the baton.
Yeah.
That's what me and Ryan are trying to do too. Ryan's running the family business, and now me and Dad I think they're starting. They already laid the concrete, but we're opening our collectibles and card shop in Scarborough.
Dude, I'm coming for the opening. I got to be there.
Dude, and I think October, man. We're going to be a real shop. So then Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to buy stuff at Brimfield. But, again, that's just carrying on legacy. That's kind of what all these questions eventually get at, like this one is.
Don't they?
You're building a new family, so you're starting a new part of the legacy. And when's it going to happen? That's I think for guys, we just want to have it solid. All right, when? Good. Let me put it on the calendar, and logically, next thing, because we're providers and we organizers, so we want to know. If it's unknown, we can only do so much to move things forward.
Yeah. Well, speaking of moving forward, let's dive into our next question. And this one comes from my coworker, Sarah, here in Denver.
Why is your Siri a British man? This is Sarah from Denver, if anybody was wondering.
Why is your Siri a British man in it?
Dave? My Siri is, well, one, it's a male voice because my girlfriend said she didn't want me talking to other bitches. Okay? So
That's a good
logically,
answer.
I had to make it a male voice. And then you wonder, well, I kind of see myself as a playboy, billionaire, philanthropist.
Naturally.
Minus a lot of that, especially the billionaire part. But like a Tony Stark. So my Siri refers to me as Mr. Stark. So I said, I'm going to make him sound like Jarvis from Iron Man.
Okay, that's a good
And
answer.
she thought it was the weirdest thing. She's like, wait a minute, why is your Siri voice, why is it a man's voice?
I think mine
like-
is just an American woman's voice.
Say it. I'm not going to say it out loud because my phone will go off, but hey, you know who.
Hey Siri, say something. Okay, that's enough. Okay, stop.
Is yours French? Well, what's that?
No, British woman
okay.
She was reading Latin. I said say something and just went off the rails.
Hey Siri, who am I? Well, that was very anticlimactic.
Who am I? I don't know.
Just pulled up my contact.
What's left to ponder?
Hey Siri, can I call you Jarvis? Oh no, the audio's off, but it says, hold on, let me tell Mrs. Potts you'll be late for dinner again. Let's go!
Dude, wake up, Jarvis.
Come on, dude. You just ruined our whole bit. I'll have to add it in post.
All right. So, okay, that was a good one. I mean, that, just a gritty question. Why is your phone the way it is?
They don't all have to be deep, right?
No, it's not that deep. I say that all the time.
What's left to ponder?
Nice comeback.
How are they supposed to learn how to read if they can't fit inside the building?
That's another movie we could quote a lot, Zoolander.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Sarah, for the question. She went to Fall Out Boy over the weekend.
Concerts. A lot of people go to concerts these days. Tell you what.
Yeah. Yep. Just saw a clip of somebody throwing something at Harry Styles while he was on stage.
Why is everybody throwing stuff at these people?
Fortunately, it was just a bracelet.
Oh.
It was actually really impressive. He, like a hacky sack move, kicks it up with the back of his foot and then knees it up and then grabs it and the whole crowd explodes.
Dang. Hacky sack is just cool, I guess.
Yeah, and I was like, well, he got a bracelet. BB Rexa took a Pro Max to the eyeball, the poor girl.
God, dude.
And then I just saw that somebody just hucked their phone at Drake while he was performing.
Where do people have all the money to just throw their phone? I don't have that kind of money.
No,
I can't even throw it in my bag. I have to place it in there carefully.
My screen protector is so cracked.
How
but
cracked
I'm even
is
more. It's so cracked that it's dude, it's spider webbed. But I'm so frugal that I'm not going to replace it. I'm like, well, I'm the only one that's looking at it. I really don't care.
Hey, look, as long as you can do what you got to do, you can Spidey all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's, people complain about the economy and yet throw their phone. You can't have both.
No. Get out of here. Figure it out.
Keep your phone.
All right. Yeah. All right, let's move on. We have a couple of more questions here. Like we said, it's a little bit dry this week on the program. Here's our next one.
Hey, Dave. Hey, JR. Hope y'all are having a good day. Just wondering, if someone wanted to start in your field, what advice would you give them? What's the most important piece of advice that you would give them?
Christina.
Okay, that's from Christina down in Kentucky. You know that voice?
Yep, yes, I do. Let's see. Well, in my field...
Let's just define exactly what your field is, though.
Okay. Well, let's just call it content creation because that seems to be catching on these days. When I was starting, it was do you want to shoot movies? Do you want to edit movies? Do you want to do sound? Nowadays, you're kind of expected to be able to do them all.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're in school, high school or college, find someone who's already doing this and just reach out and say, hey, can I shadow you for free? I'll help carry stuff. I'll get coffees. I'll be on set. And then you just got to get yourself on set, in a studio, around people who are making stuff and doing what you want, and just absorb. Now, you got to go get coffee. You got to be a runner. You got to do your thing. But there's plenty of moments when they don't need anything, and you can sit there and get as close as you want to the director's chair or the cameraman, and, there's a break, they're changing something out, ask a question, watch what they're doing, ask why they're doing what they're doing. Just be that 6-year-old that's why? But
why? How come?
Because people like you and me who have been pros in our field for over a decade, we actually love answering those questions.
Oh, yeah.
We nerd out about gear, we nerd out about the process, we nerd out about pretty much anything related to film. You can say, oh, hey, Dave, this one movie, and I'll go off for 20 texts and just explain as much as I know. So if you're just starting out, a lot of people need help. I've done it before. I've ordered lunch on set. I've cleaned. I've done gaffer. I've done every job imaginable, gotten coffee. If you can just get yourself into that role and just absorb and ask questions, then you'll know, oh, so the cameraman does this and they learn this technique. And they'll say, yeah, you should go watch this movie and watch what the cameraman does and all this, blah, blah, blah. Just get around people doing the job. And then that'll let you know, oh, you know what? I actually don't want to be a cameraman. That looks like not my favorite thing. So you'll at least learn that you don't like it sooner than if you were studying. Then you get in the field and you go, wait, this is nothing like the book.
Yeah. Yeah. For people that want to get into radio, I used to have a few different answers, but I've kind of just boiled it down to one, to its lowest common denominator. And that is become a street teamer. Start working for the promotions department. And our last question from Sarah is a perfect example. She started out that way. Now she's one of the head people in the promotions department, helps run it, right?
Boom.
And then from there, now she's also doing air shifts on one of our sister stations. So it's just, the promotions department can really give you an entire crash course on what the radio industry is like and what to expect. And, you know, why people have certain titles or why things work the way they do. And you can kind of just like pop in and kind of bug one of the jocks. Like, hey, like, why did you do the break this way? I go out of my way without her even asking. Hey, do you want to know why I did that break that way? Because like you said, I've been a pro for about 10 years and I love talking about this stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, think of the break as like your TikTok video, right? Your first right off the bat is your hook. You need to grab them right away, you know? For example, I might say, hold on to your butt. And why the hell would he say that? You know, Taylor Swift's at Empower Field this weekend. Like, you want to grab them, and then you want to give the meat of the matter as quickly as you can, and then you want to have a call to action in the end. So your on-air break, it really crosses over to social media content creation so well. Because you're essentially doing the same thing. It's just in radio, you're only doing it audibly. But when you can actually film it and capture it and do it visually as well, you'll start to learn why those two things match up. And you'll also start to learn, like, how many different hats radio jocks have to wear. You know, we're podcasters like I'm doing right now with Dave on my own time. This is his show. You know, he just happens to be hanging with me. So, and then we're also like, we got to film and we got to host events. We got to do live remotes. I got a remote coming up next weekend at the flea market.
Expect you nowadays to not only be good on the boards and on the mic, but now you have to make all your own content around your own show.
Yeah, because there's really like no teams that are around to do that. You know, in a perfect world,
yeah,
you'd have a video team here, you'd have a digital team here, you'd had a this or that, but it's like, no, they kind of trimmed all that out to save money, and now it's, you know, they're hiring people that can do all of that themselves. It's like, I don't know, think of like one of the best basketball players, right? They could probably play any position on the floor.
Yeah, look at like a Giannis or LeBron, big guy but can dribble, can play point, can play center if needed.
Yeah. So working your way through the promotions department, and it's not like glamorous work. You're lugging around gear. You're setting up stuff for the jocks to show up and do their remotes and their appearances and their this and their that. But just think of the amount of talent that's around you and how many people you can learn different perspectives of the industry you want to get involved in. Yeah. It's
and
endless.
The humbling thing to know is that all the talent around you did all those jobs you're doing. That's how they got where they're at. No, everybody's paid their dues. It just doesn't look like it because now you're seeing the final polished product.
Yeah. You know, and I've seen some people straight up turn down this advice. Oh, well, that seems like it just takes too long. Like, how do I start and get paid?
Dude.
You fucking don't, bro. You just don't.
That's facts for a little while. I heard somebody, or maybe I read it on Threads. I can't even recall now if I've heard it, seen it, or read it. It's been out there.
Or maybe it was on Reddit. I don't know.
Maybe I read it on Reddit. And it was the sacrifice the reward is usually the same as the sacrifice. Meaning you get out what you put in. Like, if you sacrifice everything, you're probably going to get everything in return.
Right.
So if you don't, like I was telling you this the other day in a voice note, like the more we put into this show to make it really good, the more good things have happened. Not because we're like making this to make money and just for us to succeed, but because we focused on making the product and the show so good, we've got fans like Chris who actually care. We've got a talent scout out there right now talking to us about this other opportunity. We've got watch time going up, but ultimately we sacrifice all our other thoughts and time during this window and editing to make this the best thing.
Yeah. And you know what's one of the more, flattering things about it? So many people that work within my industry reach out to me and it's, yo, that was so dope. How did you do that? How can I do that? What did you use? So it's like, it's a compliment because they dig what you're doing, but then it's almost like, oh, well, if Jeff's doing that, it can't be hard, right? But it goes back to what you told me. It's because we're out here making it look like it's easy when it's in fact very, very difficult.
Yeah, that's the biggest compliment. When somebody thinks that they really can just step in and plug some things in, you're like, wow, okay, I'm making this look seamless.
Oh, it's because of the camera he has.
Bro,
it's because of, what video editor do you use? Oh, so it's doing all that.
It's the app. Oh, it's AI.
100%. Yeah. But I'll always be humble and say, if I can do this, if I can achieve it, if I can go this far, anybody can. You just have to bet on yourself.
Yeah, that's
true. And you just have to, you just go. Just go. And when doors start to crack open, kick them motherfuckers open and just go and never take no for an answer. Just my motto in life now is continue overachieving as much as I can.
That's really cool. It's actually one of the reasons that my longest relationship ultimately ended, kind of, was because I was like, you have to keep doing your career. It's like when you got back to you and Julia, but we were just at different places, and I was like, you can't stop. Like, you moved to New York, you're doing amazing. If you just keep going, you're just going to keep getting more amazing opportunities. And even if this doesn't work, I never wanted that to get in the way.
Totally.
So I guess I'm always a believer in, like, what we're talking about right now is like, if your dreams are going to come true, don't let me or anyone get in the way of them.
100%. Yeah. And that's why I can't be like, well, if you do want those things and it's a little tongue in cheek, the way that she kind of, you know, presents that question, of course, but all jokes are funny because there's some remnants of truth to them. Right. Mm-hmm. And we can kind of joke about it. I'm like, I don't want the long distance fiance. It's hard enough being your long distance boyfriend. And, it's tough, It's, like I said, it can make me freaking crazy sometimes. But yeah, for those who want to get involved in the broadcast field, you could take the advice that I gave you, or you could essentially apply what Dave told you to it as well. I think that kind of falls in for any kind of trade or, whatever.
It's almost the same answer. It's just with radio, it's specifically street team is kind of how you can climb the ranks and get around that stuff. With film, there's so many doors. I mean, you could just know someone that works. Like my stepbrother, he's a lot older than me, but he's in the union in New York, in the lighting union. And anytime I'm like, hey, are you filming something? Can I come hang out? He's like, yeah, sure, of course. So I'll just go. He'll give me paid for the day to babysit lights. And I get to hang out on set and like look at the director's chair. And he's like, yeah, no, you're super helpful. Appreciate it. You get $300. I get $300 to like, so if you know somebody like that, like that's really cool. And you just can eat craft services and kind of stay out of the way. Like that's kind of all you do.
But it sounds like a pretty good gig. Plus, lighting is super, super important,
It's half of it, dude. That's the only thing. Without lighting, it's a podcast.
Right. And then speaking of podcasts, how important the sound is. I remember running boom mic for you on a commercial shoot that you did.
Booming. That was kind of a hot day.
business was booming that day,
Dude,
bro.
It was. It was funny. We were at the brewery, and I was like, of all places, I got JR at a brewery working.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, we're going to take 5 and, have some brews.
And
And
I'm
I'm
like,
just like
yep.
sitting over there.
Like, I'll get a water.
Yeah, I'll take a water, please.
Dude, we made cash on that.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
You and me,
I'd like,
cash boys. We were like, yo, you paying cash? We got you.
we're in. We don't care what it is, dude. We're the AV club, bro. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Good question.
Anyhow, yeah, thank you so much, Christina. And I was talking with Christina earlier this week, and she had won some big concert tickets to a show. But it's at the same time where she's having like a surgery on her back. So she's
Damn.
not going to be able to go. So I don't know how soon that exactly is, but from somebody that has a lot of back problems too, I'm wishing you a speedy recovery. And
As am I,
Thanks for
yeah.
being so loyal to the show. Me and Dave really appreciate you. So we can't go through a Q&A episode without having a question from Vicky Green.
Nice.
Hey guys, so I'm not gonna be Vicky Mean this time
Yeah,
because
right.
JR accused me of being Vicky Mean lately, which total lies. And I threatened that I will withhold all the whoopie pies that I saved for him.
No.
But my question this week is kind of along the same lines of like iconic Maine things. So what would you say is probably the best iconic Maine food, dessert, beverage, it can be anything, food item do you think is the most iconic for the state of Maine that we really need to share with other people in the country because they need to be educated? I got like another follow-up question because I just had this amazing idea after my previous one about what's the best Maine treat that we have, food, item, whatever. What's the worst one that we have? Because they're not all home runs. So what is one that you think should just disappear and never make a comeback?
I think I'm going to try to tackle this one first. And I'm going to go on the worst side. Anybody that you've ever met in Maine
I think I already know.
that's told you that Moxie is a good beverage
it.
is a goddamn liar, Dave.
It's Coca-Cola, but replaced with cough medicine and bubbles.
And motor oil.
It's,
like Castrol GTX.
I think every year I'm like, you know what? This is going to be the year I'm going to like it. And I don't.
It's an
Every year,
acquired
I'm like-
taste.
it's like, remember the commercials for Bitter Beer Face? Bitter Beer Face.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of that,
the
Bob
worst.
Marley is in one of those Bitter Beer Face commercials as a young
He's
actor.
got to be.
Dude,
He's got to be.
I'll find the clip at some point, but he's in there. Yeah, Moxie is. I think Moxie's trash. It's
It's the
famous
drizzling
in Maine,
shits, man.
It's a famous.
Yeah.
Maine's known for Moxie.
Well, people say, "Oh, Moxie's just like an acquired taste. You gotta build up a tolerance to it." I'm like, if I gotta build up a tolerance to anything, it's probably not good.
It's like Rennie's. It's a Maine adventure.
It certainly is.
Okay,
I think the best one. Gosh, we already did the treats, right?
or most well known, because I would say
Yeah.
most well known is like blueberries and blueberry pie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could go that route. Any of the seafood, if you're like a seafood person, you're going to love it all.
Lobster roll.
Yeah. I remember bringing the lady to High Rollers downtown.
Good spot.
Got a lobster roll for her. I got a burger at the lobster joint.
Win in Maine.
Yeah. I'm like, because I've already had it as fresh as it could possibly be. There's no way that you guys have it fresher than Dave's neighbor. So I said, suck it. All right. But she loved it. Absolutely loved it. She really wants to get lobster down on the water. So I'm thinking maybe D'Amelio's or maybe there's another cool spot down there now.
We
that
just
I
went to
don't-
Luke's Lobster. We'll go there. That's a good spot.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, you can't go wrong with the blueberries. You can't go wrong with the seafood either. It's
Maine, yeah.
yeah.
Maine.
Bro.
I would say Maine is really the most well known for like the lobster roll. That's
Yeah.
the iconic
Everybody
meal.
get your roll on.
Everybody get your roll on.
Get your lobster roll on. What?
Somebody's missing an opportunity here.
Yeah, they really are. Dude, I just want to real quick. I was talking to our pal Corey the other day,
Yep.
And he's like super heavy into martial arts, and he has been for years, right? He was recently at one of his classes. And it's a lot of just like, you know, dads that are looking for something to do during the week.
Okay.
And Corey gets in there and he just starts like kicking everybody's ass. And I bring this up because he told me he was offered to fight in NEF, New England Fighting League. And I was like, dude, if you did that, like you'd like legit have to like train for a year, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, this would be your opponent. And he goes, dude, I spent 48 hours thinking about, I could take him. Yeah, I could kick this guy's ass, you know? I don't care how many fights, I could take him, you know? Eventually he decided not to, but I said, dude, if you had, I need to walk you down to the ring. I need to do an introduction.
Full
I gotta
on.
be involved somehow, right?
Yes.
It would just be so cool. And dude, don't miss this. 2 days before I get there, Hazard has a match
What?
in Maine.
Where?
Yeah.
When?
I don't know exactly,
I'll
but it's 2 days. I think it's on the 15th.
Okay. If it's at night, I can do it.
Yeah, I just think that'd be so cool. Dude, he would be so pumped if you were just surprised him and you were in the crowd.
Dude, the 15th.
He
I
would
gotta
lose
find
it.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's at night, I'll be there. We're doing Dallas is my nephew's birthday party, his 4th birthday at Urban Air.
What? Let's go.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna be excited about it.
Yeah, dude. I remember DJ'd at the trampoline park, and my back wasn't nearly as bad as it is now,
Bro.
but it was brutal.
Did we just ran up a bag over there. We had such a good marketing play. You guys should have seen the 1-2 punch. I'd lay out like some specifics, and JR would come in right after me and like just sit, hammer it home with the emotional, like, don't you want to be the cool business, like cutting edge,
Yeah.
da da da. The guy's like, yeah.
It's like, it's something we always learn from the business.
Yeah, we
We'll
did.
call it. It's like, and it's a line that I even used when I sold stuff on the phone. It's like, yeah, sure, you could dip your toes in the water, you know? Or you could buck up and you could dive in. You could go head first all the way. At least then you'll know that you did it. And you'll never be sitting around wondering, well, what if? What if I had? What if I actually did try this? What if I actually did pursue this opportunity? But I was too scared. I just put my toes in. No. How about you grow up some, and you dive in?
You sound like Billy Madison. No, you go out there, you find that
fucking dog. But yeah, bro, that right there is it for our questions. Again, so, running a little bit dry this week, but I think we got some good ones. We got some good conversation. And then I know Dave from davismedia.com had a question to kind of wrap this thing up.
He was curious if Dave and JR had ever made content for big companies before. And let me tell you, I remember a really specific event. And once again, we ran up a nice little bag.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't even, you might have to tell me where this started from.
I got to settle in for this one. Here we go.
The company we worked with, so at the time I had like my first job out of school. I was a video producer at Xilinx, and it was in San Jose. It was like 10 minutes from my place. And this other company that I guess reached out to you somehow was literally across the parking lot from me. And
so weird.
You were like, oh yeah, it's this company called, I don't even remember.
It's like Sonic Wall or something.
Sonic Wall. That was it. And I was like, dude, I can see them out of the window of my office. You're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, they're right here.
So weird.
Yeah. But so anyway, so there was proximity, but the reason we got to work with them, I think was for a music video.
Yep.
So where did they find you? How did you even get involved in this?
Well, they found me because of my mixtape, Flip Shades and Nikes.
Man.
And they were looking for somebody to do a song for their product. And it was about the Sonic Wall.
Cybersecurity.
And it was this and this thing called NetFlow.
The NetFlow.
Yeah, and net flow. I need it on time.
We put
But yeah,
auto-tune
that's-
on that, right?
Yeah, they found me somehow through all that stuff, and they like brought me in to meet with them.
And in Maine,
And-
though.
Back in Maine, and our pal Joe was rolling with me everywhere. I couldn't drive, so I think he even drove. And we went and met with them, and I remember they told me how much they paid the last guy. So I had that in my mind. It was a rack.
How'd you get that
grand.
out of them?
I asked the kid.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And then here's how it was pretty slick. So I'm in there meeting with them, and they're like, yeah, we want to talk about this, we want to talk about that, but we want it to all be original, right? I was like, okay. Give me the names of all your stuff and what you want to push, and yeah, I can put this into 2 16-bar verses and a hook. No problem, right? And then before we leave, I go, oh yeah, what did you say? They're like, so what's your what's your rate? And I go, my rate. Oh, wait a second. What did you say you paid the guy before? They said, oh, it was $1,000. I go, I'm going to need 2. And they said, deal. Just like that. Yeah. So I think we did a damn good job, but we pulled $2,000 out of this thing, which is a lot of money to me now. It was a ton of money to me back then. So I get to work and I'm starting to come up with this track, and Joe's kind of helping me, like, here's one of the things they want you to say. How could you put that into a rhyme? Oh, here's one of the things they want you to, okay. And then I go, well, it all has to be original. I know where I'm going to record it. I'm going to record it with Braden. But we need a beat. So I hit up Dave. Beats of the week.
People are asking.
Which is a deep cut for us. And essentially, I'm like, yeah, I just need this beat. And strangely, you already had one made. So I was like, I'll use this. Okay.
I think I sent you a few. I was like, look, these sound kind of techie, so if you like them, you can just have them.
Yeah. And so I got to work. I started writing it out. I went in with Braden and recorded it. And they were like so over the moon happy. And they set up a video shoot for it, right? So, and they're paying for all this. Like, just imagine
your rate, and they're paying for
Yeah.
the studio time.
Yeah. So yeah, they're paying me the 2 grips. They're paying for the studio time. Dave just was kind enough to give us the beat, and then they paid to have somebody do a music video. So I called in some friends, and I remember me and my pal Rosie got to dress up as ninjas, and we were trying to get over the wall, which is kind of funny.
Trying to get over the Sonic wall, dude.
Yeah, the
a
Sonic
firewall.
wall.
It's a firewall.
The firewall, yeah. And there was like a budget for like costume and design and catering, and we like did the whole thing, and it like opens up, and I'm this like young IT kid, and I'm playing on my computer, and I'm like Control Alt Delete Control, and then the guy comes in and he like, what are you doing in here? And I was like, deleting the alternates. And he's like, so you're starting your computer. We're really glad to have you here. So he hands me this stuff, and I put on these glasses, and it sucks me into the screen, which is like the whole premise of it. And I don't know, the guy, Richard Pelletier, I believe was his name, right?
Yep.
He like built all these graphics himself and shot this all himself. And he even said, hey, they're paying me to do some test shots of you. It's like, okay. He's like, let's do a music video to your song Ready to Go.
Dude, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but it's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh, man.
So if you can just add that over me right now, that would be super cool. So he brings me in there after we had already began to shoot the actual bit. And I brought in 2 girls that I knew that were Red Claws dancers at the time. I brought Rosie back because he's like the sickest break dancer that I know. And yeah, I'm just being me and rapping my stuff in front of this giant green screen.
That's right. It was all on the green screen. Yeah.
And he builds Homiewood behind me. Forget Holly, I'm going to take you to Homiewood. And it was a really cool experience, and I never officially released it because it was kind of like half done, you know?
Yeah.
But the NetFlow Sonic Wall thing did get released, and they were over the moon happy about it.
I was like,
I think
so surprised. I'm like, okay, y'all want the beat? Cool. I mean, it's cool for me. I don't care.
It worked, and it was all original, so there was no like copyright or
Yeah.
nonsense. It can all be theirs, and yeah, that was such a wild experience. You know, I remember I kept 1,500. I gave 500 to Joe, and I think he put it towards gear, even
Yep.
like a selfless act kind of thing. I was hoping they would have me back for a round 2, but I didn't. I never got the call back.
See, that's
But
the
hey,
problem when you do such a good job, they're just like,
Yeah.
no, that's all we needed.
they're like, yeah, I think we're gonna do the next one with Mitch. You know, he's about $1,000 cheaper. You know, but yeah, that was a kind of a cool experience, dude. I'm like a young kid, and I'm starting to get notoriety from Ready to Go and my mixtape Flip Shades and Nikes, and I'm starting to get play, and I'm selling a ton of mixtapes, and yeah, dude, it was
That was a
I
real.
could kind of see I could kind of see myself doing that for a lot of different companies, because it's like, you know, often people at work are like, how do you come up with this stuff that you say, and how are you like these words, and like how, you know, I'm like, I don't know, it's just kind of the way the brain works for me.
Those are the puzzles you put together, the word puzzles, and that was
Yep.
a real Silicon Valley company that we
Yeah.
did that for. I mean, it was across the parking lot. I think Xilinx technically owned the property, but that, you know, that was its own company, and I think they sold to someone, and you know, they're not Sonic Wall anymore, but even the company I used to work for is now AMD, and they make the game graphics chips.
Okay, yeah.
So they bought Xilinx, but I worked there for like 5 years, and so yeah, Dave at davismedia.com. We did do content for big companies, and we've continued to do it. We'll talk about it some more, I'm sure, in a future episode.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying to scour through YouTube right now because I
To
really
pull
want
it
to
up?
show this. Yeah.
I got the NetFlow.
NETFLOW.
Come
I
on
got
now,
the
let's
NetFlow. Yep.
It was,
Gosh.
it was, you know,
It's somewhere, dude. I don't even know where to begin.
man, I had so many beat packs and so many loops to make that beat.
Yeah.
Just loops on loops.
Dude, they're still like making content.
Sonic Wall.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's somewhere on the web, dude. I can't find it right now. But if you're hearing this podcast, I encourage you to try to find it. And if I do, we'll put it in the description of this, because it's, I don't know, it's kind of corny. It's kind of silly, but it was real money to me at the time, and it was real work for
Yeah.
a real company. And I don't know. I'm kind of proud of it. I think it's pretty cool.
I'm proud of the work. That was the second time I had a beat officially used. The first time, my guys at the Warp Zone YouTube channel, who I went to college with, they paid me $1,400 for a beat. And I was like, yo, really? They're like, yeah, it was called Batman Rap. And they all dressed up and did a Batman parody. It's like when Batman Begins first came out. And the video got like 1 million, 2 million views in like a few weeks.
What?
And they're like, yeah, if we can just buy this out, like you could keep getting paid royalties, but it'll be easier because our company. I'm like, whatever. They're like, here's $1,400. I'm like, yeah, that's great. So I'm a professional producer as well.
Dude, I'm looking up here. Sonic Wall was featured on the Silicon Valley Show, Season 4, Episode 7.
Dude, what?
Yeah, that's what it's telling me right
So,
here.
dude, we're technically part of that show.
Yeah,
We're
in a way.
part of the
you know?
lore.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I can't find it anywhere.
We'll post it up. We'll put a link in our in the description of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was a fun time, and I'm glad that you asked that question. I didn't know if I should like propose it as from Dave as davismedia.com or if it was from Lou from Lyman.
Dude, Lou
Which
from
is-
Lyman, bub.
Yeah. You know, which can you play Truth or Dare? It's by Hazard, I think is the name.
Oh,
I didn't get any love that night, dude. I was pissed.
Messed up. I like Q&As. You know, I don't know. I think maybe we need new strategy, or I think maybe we need some more people like Chris who will actually contribute.
Right. We need more listeners of the program.
Us too.
But that's why we're trying to, you know, put together a really cool show and make it fun. And
yeah,
I don't know, dude. This is the best. I love doing this. But
been good.
We record these shows on Sundays night. We record these shows on Sunday nights.
Technically, you're right. Sundays night is the time we record these.
It's been a long day. It's 9 o'clock for me, which means it's like past 11 o'clock for Dave.
That's right.
So, as they say in the biz, we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this one. We will return next week with episode 20. Actually, hold on.
26.
Because Sunday night is when I fly out.
We might have to record it early. We'll see.
Yeah, we might have to, but here's the tough part about it. And hold on to your butt. Taylor Swift's in town this coming weekend.
Taylor
Friday
Swift
and Saturday
is just
night.
messing everything up.
Yeah, she is.
Look, if you're making $13 million a show, send a mill over here and we'll stop complaining.
We'll stop, you know, complaining about it. But Friday night should be cool because after I do all my shows and, you know, and all my other responsibilities, I'm going to go to the concert in the company suite.
My man.
So I'm not going to pass on that, even if I get to do a bunch of work from home.
That's just a cool thing to be a part of.
And like the capacity at that arena is like 76,000.
That's what I want to see, some video footage of that.
Yeah. I'll definitely grab some for the show. And and then we'll probably have to cut next week's show early. And then the show after that is going to be in person, which I'm super excited about.
I think we're going to do
we've been talking about it for a while.
Person. Yeah, I think we'll do 2 in person if we have the time. And I think we're going to get Corey on an episode.
Yeah, I think so too. He's really excited about it.
Legit.
And Mom's throwing a little get together at Dundee Park.
Dundee or nothing, bro. I already jumped in the comments. I'm ready.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
I'm ready.
She's like, hey, this is what we're doing. Be ready. I'm like, okay, whatever. You know.
I'll be there.
But anyhow, for Dave, my name is JR. This has been Hanging with Homie. Thank you so much for rocking with us. 25 episodes feels pretty damn cool. So, like Chris said earlier, here's to another 25. We'll catch you next week. And remember, it's cool to be you. Peace.